Good afternoon. Welcome to the Kern Coalition CERF update. My name is Norma Rojas Mora. I am the Executive Director of Government Relations and Development for the Kern Community College District and Bakersfield College. Welcome to today's update. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the agenda for today, which we've already done the welcome. We will be providing some CERF updates, Kern Coalition updates, and sharing information on next steps. And finally, we'll be ending today's session with some questions and answers. So as a quick review, we have shared this in the previous presentation, but for those of you joining for the first time, the Kern CERF Coalition is in the planning phase for the CERF grant. The planning phase grant submission is due July 25th. Additional and more detailed information can be found on our website. So if we can go on to the next slide. As part of the planning phase, the Kern High Road Transition Collaborative will develop a regional economic recovery and transition plan that addresses essential elements of a high road strategy. The sub-regional and interregional plan will be co-developed with diverse stakeholders, from visioning to analysis to strategy and roadmap creation. The informal collective partnership agreement letter will be designed to support this process. So what have we been up to? Next slide, please. Over the past few weeks, we've hosted 2 community engagement meetings. We are taking a community approach to economic recovery. The Kern CERF Coalition is committed to ensuring that entities that are traditionally involved in economic development, as well as entities and communities that have historically been excluded from economic development processes, will collectively develop a vision that will serve the Kern CERF region. At the heart of it is equity, economic equity, ensuring that all people in Kern County, regardless of race, gender, or nativity, can contribute to and access the opportunities of a strong, resilient economy. Environmental equity, so that all people have equal protection from the impacts of environmental degradation and climate change, and equal access to natural resources and recreation opportunities in a clean, healthy environment. And health equity. All people will have full and equal access to opportunities that enable them to lead healthy lives by addressing the impacts of climate change, economic disruptions, and other aspects of economic recovery and transition. As part of the community engagement meetings, we've hosted a series of questions, and I will pass it over to Jeremy Tobias to provide an update.
Thank you, Norma. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jeremy Tobias, CEO of Community Action Partnership of Kern. And as Norma mentioned, we've engaged a series of community meetings which continue at this time throughout this week, and the following week, we'll be engaging the community at different locations throughout Kern County to offer the community opportunities to engage in the process and offer viewpoints on our process and how it's proceeding. All of these meetings are in person at different locations in the county and also available remote as well. We stream these meetings so people can access them from wherever they happen to be. In order to engage the community and prompt discussions with the community, what we've been doing at the community meetings is, after we give a brief update on the process, we've been doing breakout groups with questions to engage the community. And these questions are meant to prompt discussions from the community and garner their input. The questions we've been sharing generally reflect the following questions on the screen. You know, items which we think potentially would be important to our application, like, for instance, what does a good job mean to you? And this is a question we've received quite often during our updates, is what do you mean by a quality job or a good job? So we're asking individuals in the community what they feel is a good job. What does it mean to them? What job sectors do you think will provide the most opportunities? What business organizations would you like to see in your community, and why? What barriers have you observed that people report in not finding a job? What can your community offer that will be beneficial to job creation? What other activities do you recommend to increase participation from your community? So these are some of the questions we've engaged the public with at both in-person and breakout sessions and also online. And we recently held a meeting. CAPK hosted a meeting at the Friendship House, a community engagement meeting. Our first community engagement meeting at a remote location outside our original KCCD meetings downtown was at the Friendship House in Southeast Bakersfield on formerly Cottonwood Road, Martin Luther King Boulevard. We sponsored a community engagement meeting, including people who live and work in that area, government representatives, business owners, and community organizations. You can see a picture there of some of the breakout sessions we had, different tables with different groups seated at those tables. Some of the comments we received back, I'll share with you. They're on the screen in the orange boxes. A good job must include good benefits, stable schedule, and an environment where new skills can be acquired. Sectors that would provide great opportunities include distribution centers and manufacturing. Our community can provide hardworking individuals who are willing to learn, but there is a lack of training opportunities. So these are some of the comments we received back, kind of a summary of some of the comments. And these engagement meetings are meant for us to collect this information and make sure that our application is reflective on the needs and the desires of the community. Thank you very much.
We held a similar meeting last night at Taft College. And again, Taft is located in West Kern, and the community engagement in Taft included people who live and work in the area, government representatives, business owners, and community organizations. As Jeremy noted, we asked the same questions that were offered at the Friendship House. And some of the responses in Taft included, a good job must include opportunities for advancement, competitive benefits, and fair wages. Another response was barriers to finding a job include language barriers, a bad transportation system in Taft, and legal citizen status required in a lot of places. The sectors that would provide great opportunities include distribution centers, healthcare, and education. So as the regional convener, the Kern Coalition will implement transparent and inclusive processes to advance long-term prosperity and equity to create the Kern High Road Transition Collaborative, which is what we're engaged in now. Strength and diversity of collaborative partnerships is so important. The High Road Transition Collaborative needs to be representative of the diversity of each region. The HRTC partnerships should account for diversity across sectors, subject matter expertise, lived experience, and intergenerational perspectives to serve the CERF region effectively. So with that in mind, what I'd like to share in today's update is our proposed Kern Coalition sub-regional structure. We are discussing the need, as in the previous slide, to not only have expertise at the table, but also a research institution subcommittee. The Kern High Road Transition Collaborative is proposing a Kern sub-regional community as well. So much like the CERF divided the state of California into 13 regions, as we've been having our internal discussions, it made sense to do a micro CERF for the community of Kern County. And in that, we will be developing the Kern sub-regions. Next slide. What has initially been proposed is the Kern sub-regional committees would be comprised of North Kern representation, South Kern, Central Kern, East Kern, and West Kern. Again, the thinking in this is to bring equity to the table. Each sub-region should have its own representation. And so really we would have sub-regional high road transition collaboratives to be able to drive the work within those regions. Discussion has taken place of going even into a more individualized microcosm. So as we're providing this information, this is just one of the avenues that we're taking under consideration for the Kern subregion. And again, we're sharing it with the public to get feedback. In terms of the governance structure, the collaborative governance structure as outlined by CERF will represent entities that are traditionally involved in economic development, as mentioned earlier, as well as entities and communities that have historically been excluded from economic development processes to collectively develop a vision that will serve the CERF region. The regional convener must ensure that the HRTC includes a balanced representation. Given that, and again, as has been in discussion, as we look at the Kern Coalition, one of the proposed governance structure would be, again, to look at the sub-regional level, and participants in the Kern High Road Transition Collaborative will come from labor, employers, business and business organizations, community groups, philanthropy, education, workforce, environmental and social justice, and disinvested communities. What has initially been proposed is that the KHRTC participants will receive and vote on 3 representatives per subregion. So this KHRTC Governance Council, the members would be 3 members per subregion, and they would serve a 2-year term and receive training, attend the KHRTC meetings and Governance Council meetings. And ultimately, it would be this Governance Council that would vote on proposals. Now, please note that per CERF guidelines, the structure will evolve to respond to the region's needs. This is the initial proposal for Kern Coalition governance structure. We do anticipate that it will continue to evolve. Within this current governance structure, the initial governance council is a democratic representational power sharing voting council that would include the balanced representation. Its purpose is to implement transparent and inclusive processes to advance the long-term prosperity and equity investment projects in accordance with the tenets of the CERF grant. Now, one question that may be asked is, what is the role of the Kern Coalition co-coordinators? They would serve as ex officio members of the Governance Council to facilitate meetings, discussions, and elections. But the 3 representatives from the 6 subregions would be elected from the 5 subregions would be elected at the individual subregional level. Decisions will be made by consensus in accordance with the goals of CERF. Representatives will be onboarded on the structure and philosophy of the shared governance model, including peaceful negotiation, collaboration, shared decision-making, embracing diverse ideas, active listening, and seeking compromise where differences occur. Ongoing professional development will be provided in conflict resolution, mediation, communication strategies, diversity, equity, and inclusion practices to nurture and maintain a culture of belonging. Next slide, please.
Do we want to do the poll?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. We are going to go ahead and take a poll now. And so you will see an interactive poll popping up on your screen. You could please respond to these questions.
There'll be an additional 3rd question that will come in the chat as well from Chris. So thank you. Feel free to open that and answer that in the chat, or it's open-ended question.
At another 30 seconds here for everybody to answer. I believe we're only missing 2 answers. Thank you for participating in the poll. Please look at the chat for the 3rd question and feel free to answer as we go on.
I just want to emphasize that question number 3 reads, what other suggestions do you have as it relates to the governance structure? So please feel free to type your answer within the chat. So you may ask, what are the next steps for the current coalition and the regional conveners? Number one, and most important, is to continue to work on this governance council structure and continue to have the community engagement meetings so that we can get feedback and more participation in terms of developing the governance structure. We will continue to develop the High Road Transition Collaborative to focus on implementing CERF with representation from labor, business, community, government, economic development, philanthropy, education, and workforce partners via the collective partnership agreement. We are currently in the process of finalizing the collective partnership agreement, which will be going out to all those community organizations that are interested in participating in the CERF process. Need to have
Normally you're breaking up.
Hi, everyone. My connection's not stable. Oh,
right. Or when
Norma, we can't hear you.
Pardon us, Norma. We didn't get the last about 30 seconds of that. The connection seemed to have gone unstable. We actually aren't getting your audio, Norma.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Oh, we got you now. I was gonna.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry about that. I apologize for that. So regarding upcoming meetings, we will host weekly CERF updates at noon. Our community engagement meetings will continue to be held across Kern County in a hybrid format. And we invite you to participate in the July 14th meeting at the Bakersfield Delano campus in Delano. In addition to that, the CERF website has been updated, and we invite you, if you are interested to host a meeting, you can sign up to host a meeting on the website, and we will be sure to engage with you to make that meeting happen. I want to thank our co-conveners who are on the call today, including JP Lake from B3K, Imelda Ceja from the Central Labor Council, and Reina Olagues from Building Healthy Communities. Of course, Jeremy Tobias introduced himself. If we can go to the next slide, please. So I did notice some questions and answers or questions in the chat box that we'll be happy to answer.
Yes, we do have a few questions populated here. In reference to the governance structure, the question is, when you say inside group, you are referring to that who is making these decisions, question mark?
So again, it's the governance council that would be making the decisions and the subregions would be voting on the representatives for the governance council. So decisions are made at the governance council level.
A follow-up question to that is, where is local government represented?
Local government would be represented at the sub-regional level. And so again, CERF requires representatives from a variety of stakeholders. This will allow many of the local governments to be able to participate and have a voice.
Furthermore, what are the boundaries of each of the subregions?
We will be sharing those boundaries of the subregion at our next update and online, possibly previous to the update. And those boundaries are determined based on an analysis of disinvested communities here in Kern County. utilizing the CERF guidelines.
We actually have a clarification to the first question. The first question, when you say inside group, that's actually the question is, who made the decision to split it into 5 regions?
Again, this is a proposed model for the governance structure. And so initially it was the coalition based on some community feedback that made the decision to present this model at this point. Again, the model seemed to be the one that most effectively had an equity lens and would allow for communities to have a voice.
That covers all of the questions at this time, Norma. Oh, actually, we've just got one more. Has all of the disinvested communities been identified?
We have started to develop a map that identifies the disinvested communities. Again, that is simply based on the CERF guidelines. We also recognize that we need to address the population sizes so that they are balanced out and that it is equitable, but also ensuring that there may be, or recognizing that there may be some communities in some of the regions that may be broken down even further into additional microcosms. I know that a lot of our community partners have asked for that. So again, we're continuing to evaluate and update the model based on the feedback that is being given by the community. Your opportunity to be able to speak to that continues to be, sending in your ideas or recommendations via email or continuing to participate in these community meetings. Community partners are everyone that has been participating in the community stakeholder groups, as well as some of the representatives and stakeholders from the organizations that are that form part of the co-convening organizations. Would we be able to see who has been left out? Yes, to answer that question again, all of the information will be posted online so that you're able to see how the regions have been divided and to be able to provide feedback on that.
It seems that now that does take care of all of the questions at this moment, Norma.
And again, for all inquiries, as you see in the chat box and correspondence, please reach out to us at kerncerf@kccd.edu. I recognize your submission. That's from Troy Hightower. We will do that and ensure that it is updated on the website as we move along. And again, as it is updated on the website, you will have the opportunity to provide your feedback as well and give your input. The initial, I can also speak to the initial structure that is being proposed, as I've said before, is an evolving model. So please understand that there is still time to provide that feedback as we're developing it. Okay. If there are no further questions, this concludes our update for today, which is July 12th. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you at our next community engagement meeting in Delano on July 14th.